Today is Saturday, September 24th, 2016. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Millennials versus Gen X, Episode 1.
Beautiful intro music is a mix that Aaron did for us a couple years ago, dedication to Russ Landua. I was going back through different ones that he had provided, and I really liked that one. So it had been a while since we heard it. Thank you for that, Aaron. We'll hear from Aaron a couple times in this episode of the Listener Feedback Show. For those that might be joining us for the first time here at the Survivor Fans Podcast, we do 3 shows a week for every episode that airs. We do a recap, and Joanne and I do that pretty much within an hour of that episode airing. We sit down and get it together and record our thoughts, the big broad strokes of what went down in the episode and some of our assessments and predictions. Then we get an interview for whoever may be voted out that week or maybe evacuated, however that went down. And then on Saturday, today, we do the listener feedback show, which it's your turn. We hand the show over to the other super fans to get your thoughts and predictions. And this is our first listener feedback show of the season. Now we've got to see the new castaways in action.
Sounds good.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, we got a lot of different thoughts. Got some people struggling with the season, and then other people are just so stoked it's back. And definitely had some comment-worthy events happen in this episode. So I say we jump right in.
All right. First up, we have a voice clip from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling, and I gotta let it out, baby. Woo! Yeah, baby. So happy. Survivor, Millennials versus Gen X. It's back. And that was an epic, fantastic premiere. So let's get cooking. First, for the youthful, immature Millennials. First off, props to my favorite, Zeke. He's the man. I think he's going to be a big-time player, praying he makes it to the end or deep in the game. And I love that he took the initiative of leadership there after the cyclone and helped the team build shelter. That was great. At least someone has brains. And then you have Figgy, and you have Jay, and you got Surfer Dude. Oh, I love Figgy. She's so hot. I want to go out on a date on Survivor. Taylor. Oh, he doesn't have a clue at all, that kid. My goodness. Even worse than Fabio. I think Figgy's going to have her hands full there. She knows the game. I would shout for her, and those guys better watch out. You tell me what you guys think. And I like Hannah trying to work it in with, well, somewhat with Michelle, but I think Michelle is more with the cool kids, it seems. But there was an extra clip in a Dalton Ross thing that I saw with Hannah and Michelle. Didn't see much of Michaela. We saw Will just a little bit here and there. Let's see, maybe Hannah will work an alliance with Michaela and Mari. I love that she went up to Mari and formed a little bit of an alliance there. And maybe they'll work with Adam and who knows, maybe Zeke if they play their cards right. And then on to the older Gen Xers. Love my boy Brett LaBelle, Boston Strong baby, and Chris. That was awesome that those two worked together right off the bat. I knew it. And then Sunday, not a bad episode for her, even though I'm up to here with her howdy voice, like Sandi. But she wasn't too bad. The person that was annoying, of course, was David, but I did feel kind of bad. Clearly he's out of his element, and this isn't his environment, but I love that he was able to stay in the game and he didn't quit. And I kind of knew it was anticlimactic. He wasn't going to get voted out. And man, somehow, what an epic tribal there. How in the world, Cece, I bet she didn't see those votes coming to her. And in the end, Rachel got voted out. And I think that was the right call because she was kind of, I don't know, an older Gen Xer prima donna to me. She didn't really know the game. She screwed up on the puzzle. And she was irritating a lot of folks at camp. But let's see, I'm hoping David has a redemption story. I think he will. And Paul, we didn't see much of Big Paul, except trying to say that he loves being a Gen Xer. But we're going to have to see what happens. And curious, guys, who's the medic evac, guys? We're going to have to see with these previews. I'll feel so bad if we lose someone in that fashion. But when you have a heart attack, I mean, that's tough stuff there. So we'll see what happens. But I'm digging this season, guys. Love it. Woo!
All right. Thanks, Pete. I'm glad it's off to a good start for Pete. It's always good to get the woos from Pete.
My vote is still on Paul.
Yeah? You think he's the one that has the medical issue?
Yeah.
Seems likely.
Yeah, but I hope he doesn't get pulled. So
that seems unlikely, and we'll hear some more data about that as we go on. We got someone who's got some professional feedback in that regard, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we've got audio from Aaron.
Hello, Joanna and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. This is Aaron, now from Busan, South Korea. And I will be talking about episode 1 of season 33. Can you believe it? First off, before I even say anything, can I just talk about that full intro they released online? If you have not checked it out, go see it. It was one of the most original things they have done since Kage-yan. And, given that Russ Landua isn't there anymore, they did a very good job of adding extra sounds and orchestrations to the theme. And the way it builds towards the second half, it's so good. So please check that out. So about the episode, wow, I really thought David was going home. I didn't see Rachel going home. I mean, I guess she did annoy people, and so I did think that, maybe she'll get some votes. And then Cece ended up getting votes. I'm guessing what happened was there was an alliance that was formed, and then Cece just happened to be not in that alliance, and then they split the votes just in case Rachel had an idol. I'm thinking that's what happened. So I do not think either David or Cece, unfortunately, is long for this world unless they have some switch up or a swap. Jessica, I love her. She surprised me every day, and I hope she does well. And the millennials. Okay, I feel so embarrassed being a millennial watching that tribe because it's just like, wow, like Taylor and Jay have no awareness at all, and then Figgy is caught up in that. Oh, geez. We see this young alliance get together all the time. I'm thinking back to, Dog Bar, Eddie, and Reynolds. I'm also even thinking of Jenna, Rob, Heidi, and Matt. No, not Matt. Jenna, Heidi, Rob, and Alex. But at least they were in like a tribe of 7, and there are 4 of them. They're in tribes of 10, and they're 4. Math. Okay, they can't do math. I'm rooting for my USB Mari very hard. It was between Mari and Will. I first put Will because I was like, oh, wouldn't that be fun? But then I was like, you know what? Go with my gut. I'm just going to go with Mari, and she definitely delivered. But I do see what you're talking about, Joanne, with picking Hannah. I hope that works out for you, but I hope I am able to win the JSFL challenge. And I'm going to win this time, and I have to sing. So I'm looking forward to what everybody else has to say, and I will talk to you all later. Oh, and I'm doing well in Korea, by the way. It's been crazy and a roller coaster and all that, but it's been a fun experience so far. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Awesome.
All right, excellent.
Yeah, good to hear that. Great to hear your voice again. Thanks for making that effort to get some feedback in. And the special treat you sent along, too, which we'll get to at the end. Next up, we've got some feedback from Carolyn.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Welcome to another season of Survivor. Wow. I'm enjoying a beautiful early autumn day in Central Park, walking through tons of dogs, horses, kids to work. I'm just enjoying the calm weather because we haven't had a really bad hurricane here since 2012 with Hurricane Sandy, which admittedly was enough for keep us going for a number of years. Still repairing the damage from that one, actually. Seeing them evacuate because of the cyclone, that was amazing. That was the first. You wouldn't think you can get many firsts after 33 seasons or something, but you still can. That's one reason we keep on watching Survivor. And I have to say, overall, my expectations were so low because of the cliched manner of the season promotions and the talk from Jeff about the generations and what they mean. I don't know much about millennials. The kids around me there, I don't know, they don't seem especially entitled. They like security, but that's about it. I have noticed that maybe one of the reasons they jump from job to job is because in 2008, for 7 years, we're just overcoming one of the worst recessions since the Great Depression. I think that would make a little difference in your job prospects and outlook and such, but what do I know? I always like to say, I'm definitely Generation Xer. I always like to say a generation coming of age in the 80s, Generation X that had the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. We got the AIDS, crack, and hair metal bands. So there was a little resentment sometimes, but well, the episode was scenery is gorgeous. I'm glad that Fiji has settled down and can support Survivor again. I'd rather have a season or two if they were thinking of putting there, but politically it was not a good time to do that. So I'm really glad to see them back there. It looks absolutely lovely. I have to look see what kind of bachelors are. They're so active and interested during the day. Maybe they only wake up when the cameraman disturbs them. Oh, by the way, speaking of cameramen, you were wondering about during the cyclone. It turns out that one of the guys left a GoPro there, remotely controlled GoPro. That's how they were able to get those shots. No cameramen were harmed in the making of that episode, at least not that we saw. Sometimes we forget that they're out there with them, even though they're fed. They are out there with them. And finally, let's see. David made an impression, much worse than I thought he would. Zeke made an impression, much better than I thought he would. I can't help thinking of good old dog Zeke whenever they say his name. There's not a lot of Zeke in New York City. We're diverse, but, just don't want to come across a lot of Zeke, so I'm glad he's doing well. Goodbye, Rachel. I guess I didn't have to learn your name after all. I am having trouble. First couple of episodes, I did need a little help pulling people apart. 3 people I want to avoid, there were Fiji and those 2 boys owned in one little tribe. They really showed them in one episode far more than I hope they showed in the rest of the episodes put together. So they're already boring me, which means, of course, they'll go very far. That's how it works. Hope you're having a great time. Hope that Mother Nature is kind to you like she's seen us here in New York today, and it's a gorgeous day. And thanks for all you do. Bye.
Yeah, hearing Carolyn talk about that took me back to when we went through Central Park.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of that when she said that. Of
we
course,
went
it
through
wasn't
on
fall.
the horse and buggy.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was a great
lovely
experience. Beautiful. Yep. Thanks, Carolyn. I'm glad you're enjoying the season. And
it's beautiful here, too.
Yeah, it is. Quite a beautiful day here. And wow, David. Everyone's going to end up talking about him, I think.
I can't help but think he's going to recover, too.
You think? I love what Pete said. At least he didn't quit.
Yeah, true.
That's the only thing that he probably could have done that was worse. Seeing the video of him. So after the first episode, they released the getting to know videos. And unfortunately, these just are a longer version, just like a complete recap of stuff we've already gotten. There's not a lot new there. But I'm watching you can see why he got cast. He says all the right things about how he's going to do things. And then he did, from what we got to see in the edit, exactly the opposite of all those things. Horrible. He's managed to top Cochran's first moment. He's pulled a Cochran,
I'm hoping
and it's
they're
worse.
showing that so that when he does better, then they can say, oh, look how he started out. But
Well,
he recovered.
You can have a growth redemption story for him. It can be over in a cycle. He could easily go next,
I'm
like
just
people are
afraid
predicting.
he's going to hurt himself out there before
Possibly,
he does.
yeah.
Because he was having trouble walking.
Yeah, we were watching him. We're like, this guy's got trouble with basic locomotion. I'm not sure he really should have been released outside.
Well, to be fair, he was walking down some rocks or something.
Yeah, even other places, it just didn't seem like he had a handle on things.
Yeah,
Goodness, what a mess.
Maybe he'll calm down.
Yeah.
The first 3 days, how it kind of really breaks them down. So we'll see next week. But
obviously something else was going on. He only got 1 vote, and it was from someone that wasn't in the alliance. So and we had a sense when we were watching the episode that he was in that bigger alliance.
He would be the perfect goat.
Because they were talking about having to rein him in.
Right? Wouldn't he be the perfect goat?
The perfect goat. You got to watch people with redemption stories. People love redemption and growth stories. You saw how much the Millennials rallied around Zeke when that bamboo saw was probably a lot of Jay. Jay had that skill. I'm not sure Zeke had it. And Jay was there helping him. And Jay was the one building the shelter. Zeke was talking about things, and then they would cut to Jay doing them.
Behind it.
Yeah.
Well, he told him what to do the notches and to...
Yeah, maybe. Good deal.
And he said he didn't know either, but...
Exactly. Thanks. I think
cool.
he got a little extra out of that.
Well, his enthusiasm and excitement about doing stuff was contagious.
Absolutely.
I think even to the others.
Definitely. You could see that. It gave the tribe a moment, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks again, Carolyn. Next up, we've got an email from Jack in California. Advantages, cyclones, and shelters. Oh, my. What a way to start out this new season. If this episode is any indication, then we're in for a great one. I thought the whole Adam Probst introduction was amusing and a great way to add some humor at the beginning of the season. I completely disagree with Paul's assessment of Millennials. We do have and use technology a lot, but we also work hard towards what we want to accomplish, and with enough effort, we will get there. There's some more great feedback later on about this, too. I'm looking forward to what type of advantage Jessica has in her possession. The alliances that got formed in Vanua reminds me of high school cliques, nerds on one side, looks on the other. I believe the nerds have an advantage over the other, though. It was crazy that the first episode did probably one of the worst-case scenarios, which was a cyclone on day 2 already. I have not been in that type of situation, but I can imagine on day 2 hearing that news and getting to somewhere safe would have probably been somewhat challenging because of the waves they needed to cross. However, I'm glad everyone got out safe and mostly unharmed. I feel like David's days out there are now numbered. He's not an outdoor person, and with his paranoia, I feel if Gen X goes to tribal council again, he would be the next one voted out. It's way too early in the game to have that type of paranoia that you need to separate from the rest of the tribe just to try and find an idol. For the next episode, it looks like the medical team is called into the Gen X tribe, and I think the unfortunate person down is Paul. He is the oldest one out there after all. I do hope he's okay because I hate seeing people go down like that, but by the looks of it, we may have our first unfortunate medevac of the season. Can't wait to see what the other fans have to say, and I hope this season delivers. Until next time, thanks, Jack. Great feedback. Next up, we've got audio from Jill.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. It's Jill in the Outback here. Great to hear everyone's voices again and be in for another season of Survivor. Our local channel that shows Survivor has decided to delay it by a week, which is a bit of a pain. So I've had to watch it online, and my internet is notoriously dodgy, so I was surprised I could watch the first week. I got it all in. I'll probably run out of internet downloads by the end of the month, but I will contribute as much as I can. It's a bit funny, the whole Millennials versus Gen X situation. We all know it's going to be over in a couple of weeks, but everyone gets so worked up over it. And yes, we're Generation X, we're responsible, and, you know, we're Millennials, we're carefree. But I just think it's an age thing. When you're in your 20s, you are carefree and, you know, you prefer to go swimming than build a shelter despite the cyclone hovering off the coast. And when you're older, you know, you are more responsible. Like, you know, in 20 years' time, these millennials will be building shelter instead of going for a swim. The whole cyclone thing must have been a bit scary for them all. I would have loved to see how they handled that, like when they took them to shelter. But I was so glad that you guys asked Rachel in your interview how that all went. It sounded pretty barren, really, just being put in a concrete room. It doesn't sound very fun at all, but at least they were safe. Actually, Rachel in that interview, she came across all right. Like, she came across pretty annoying in the show, but in your interview, she sounded great. I quite liked her there. I think where Rachel went wrong is that she just sat back and let them all have their conversation without her in it, where David went and talked to people and, you know, pleaded his case, where Rachel just sort of sat back and let whatever be. But on the other hand, they probably should have got rid of David because he made it clear that he is a fan and wants to be there and wants to play, where Rachel didn't and probably isn't going to be a threat at any stage. Over on the Millennials, Zeke was good fun when he made the fire, and I made it. He was so excited, and I was so happy for him. I hope that doesn't make him stand out, though. But I really liked him. Hope he does well. The Triforce, oh my God, I don't know how much dudes I can handle in all of that. And they're just setting themselves up for a fall. I don't think Figgy came across well at all. She was almost a little bit leechy, just hanging on to those two blokes and for all she was worth. So nearly out of time. Great to have Survivor back again. Great to have the podcast back again. Happy days, everyone. See you next week.
Oh, I like that, Jill. Figgy was leechy. I'm so disappointed in Figgy. Oh, my goodness. I think it's only going to get worse. That's why I'm going into the next episode with dread for my USB. Goodness, good to hear you again, Jill. Next up, we got some audio from Rob.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rob. I don't have much, just listen to your podcast. And, David, I'm sad because I really wish he would stay around. He's like every neurotic character ever played by Woody Allen, and I think it would be awesome to watch again. Anyway, enjoy the podcast. Talk to you later.
Excellent. Thanks, Rob.
Oh, it's good to hear your voice, Rob.
Yeah, I guess that's the upside of David. You can draw some comfort or whatever from that and the trials and tribulations he's going for. For me, he's like a trigger. He reminds me so much of Upham and Saving Private Ryan, just like Cochran did when he was screwing things up, and I just have an immediate reaction. He's seems so on top of it when he's talking about what he's going to do and all that. And then he's just, he's a disaster.
Can't seem to make it happen.
Yeah, he is FUBAR for sure. All right, thanks again, Rob. Next up, we've got audio from Samantha.
Wow, Survivor is full of surprises. This is Samantha, a.k.a. Survivor Rocks from Texas. I'm completely surprised and amazed at the first episode of Millennials versus Generation X. I really wasn't looking forward to it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Surprised, and I was surprised by Zeke. He seemed to be the only one working and likable one on his tribe, a hard worker, and makes fire without flint. Impressed. I'm still not liking Mom, Jessica. She's got an infection in her eyes, and I still don't see her lasting long. She won't make it to day 36. Make your will out now. I'm hoping that David calms down and stops jumping at his own shadow. I'd like to see him make a 360 out there and show them all. I think it is great that he is trying to face his fears out there, but he's going to have to change or he'll be seeing Rachel soon. Rachel didn't get voted out just because they thought she had an idol. You come across as annoying or bossy and talkative. You just got under their skin. That's another reason you got voted out. Plus the challenge. The Millennials want to play and have romances. Bro, I trust you. You're cool. You haven't been around each other long enough to know about trust. You're going to be voted out. Ken was just trying to help and with his expertise, but he may fall into a leadership role, and that's a dangerous position to be in, Ken, so be careful, Ken. I'm still liking church girl Michelle, but she needs to become a misfit because I want her to last longer and not get voted out. Maury is playing hard. There's no surprise there. Survivors get a tarp and then get evacuated. Surprised. Probe said on Twitter that no one, and I mean no one, was outside during the storm, that the filming crew were evacuated too. That someone had one of those GoPro cameras and they set it up and they left it. But the battery life was only for about 1 hour on the GoPro camera. Surprise. The CC votes? Surprise. Someone is up to something. But who? David doesn't have an idol. Surprise to Brett. And I'm surprised that, Brett, you were that paranoid about it already. You can't talk about David's paranoia. You're just as bad. Next time on Survivor, someone's going down. Will I be surprised?
Thanks, Samantha.
Yeah, I think in the interview, Wiggler with Probst, he said something about the GoPro and the battery. I thought they said 4 hours, but anyway, somebody had a cell phone or something. They could wire something in to make it last longer. I don't remember exactly how the technical side of it.
Oh,
but,
it's just it's probably just like a cell phone charger, like that looks kind of like a little tube that I have, and you just connect the USB charge cable in, and it'll keep the battery on. It'll
honey,
recharge
you have so many things.
It'll recharge, via USB like that.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway,
They're quite common.
That's how they got those. So
thanks,
thanks, guys, for pointing that out, because we were curious about that.
Wow. Samantha is not a Jessica fan. She didn't think well of Jessica's future. Make her will out now for the legacy advantage. That was good. I like that. Thanks, Samantha. Next up, we got an email from WT.
Hello, I just recently found your podcast. Thank you for putting it together. You're welcome. Do you think the late game advantage could be the power to take someone off the jury?
Duh. Why didn't we think of that?
I like that, WT. Thank you for that question. That's thought-provoking.
What they did from last season,
I think that
basically.
Could be a possibility.
Yeah, that's like the most obvious one, assuming they would do it again.
I just, that hurts.
Mm-hmm.
That really hurts. Oh, what if it was to eliminate one of the if it's final, there's 3 there on day 36, and you go into breakfast and they go, you have the power to eliminate one of these people.
Wow. Yeah. That would be harsh, huh?
I can't see them giving that much power, but removing a juror.
Like that happened last season?
Huh?
Yeah, I thought you might be struggling to recall. That happened last season. They removed Neil, the ice cream guy.
Yeah, I know, but
okay, you seem
still
at a loss.
No, it's not that I'm at a loss. It's just
that's what happened to him.
I know, but he felt the pain, and I'm feeling the pain.
Oh, that's what that face is.
Yes, right. It's like, oh,
I figured there's either that or you had gas.
I'm gonna smack you.
Okay.
No, I was already commiserating.
You were emphasizing.
Yeah, already. Well, but
I can't talk.
The only thing is I didn't think of that. I think because I thought it would be something new.
Yeah, could be.
You know, and that's not new, but it's still just the whole thought of it to make it to the jury. You're there, the whole thing, and then just right when the party starts, you get sent away.
Yeah.
That would sour your experience somewhat.
It's pretty harsh, yep.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Okay.
Thanks, WT. Next up, we got audio from Joe.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all Survivor fans. Joe from Huntersville, North Carolina. Back at it for another fun season of Survivor. Unfortunately, a lot of the Survivor episode was preempted because of unrest happening in Charlotte, North Carolina. Huntersville is a suburb of Charlotte. Your podcast helped fill in the gaps. Back to the game. I selected Adam as my USB for this season. I was flipping between Jessica and Adam. I felt both were strong, but in the end, I picked Adam. So, what's up with the legacy advantage? I look forward to hearing everyone's take on it. As far as the contestants, I like Zeke, Jessica, Adam, Hannah, and Marie. They all look like they can go far in the game. Oh, and did anyone else hear Woody Allen every time Dave opened his mouth? He must have the record from going from 0 to extreme paranoia. And don't get me started on the Triforce. 3 strong against 7. That seems like it'll work. Well, till next time, keep up the good work.
Thanks, Joe.
You didn't have any suggestions of what it might be.
We talked about it in the recap.
Yeah, but you've had time to think about it since then.
I don't know, other than giving them extra time, like we've seen before. Extra time on a practice on a puzzle, or getting to move a stage ahead in a puzzle.
It's got its own name now, so
it's got the name.
Something different.
I think that comes more from being able to will it to someone. That's your legacy in the game. You got voted out, but you're able to will it. And that's where that emphasis comes from. It may not be original beyond that twist on having an advantage, and the fact that it's in the game so early.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be just a little bit disappointing if it wasn't something that we hadn't seen before?
Well, again, you have the legacy twist that it gives returns on all through the season,
and
potentially.
We'll enjoy that all through the season and all.
Sure,
but what
it
I'm
would
saying
be cool
is,
if there was some new surprise for us, sure.
If it were just to remove someone from the jury or anything else that's been done before.
An extra vote, take a vote away.
Any of that.
I mean, those are all advantage examples from before.
I guess it could be that you get to do a wrap-up, or you get extra time to present your case, or I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't put a whole lot of thought into that. I liked what WT reminded us of, though. That's certainly very likely, given they're just coming off doing that. And then being able to will it along the way.
That still just makes chills go up my back.
All right.
There we go. So disappointing.
Good to hear from you again, Joe. Next up is JWaffles, if I heard that right.
Hello, Joanne and Stacey. First-time caller, JWaffles from Canada here to share some observations about Week 1 of Survivor, Gen X versus Millennials. But before I get into my feedback, I wanted to take a minute to recognize both of you for all the time and effort that you put into this podcast and the Fantasy League. You already know this, but it really makes watching the television show much more enjoyable and exciting. I've been listening to the podcast for a few years now, and I decided to get in the fun of the JSFL League, but stopped short of the side challenge. I'm not there yet. I also wanted to say a big thanks to the other superfans who record their observations and feedback every week. I may not always agree, but I certainly appreciate these other different views. With that said, I thought I'd share a few of my observations for the week. First off, I don't like the theme of this season. By lumping the tribes into two groups with such a large age differential, they have somewhat missed out on another generation altogether. I, for one, fit into the category between Gen X and Millennials, aptly named Gen Y, and can see many of the tribe members from both groups that fit into this. It's harder to categorize, but I see it as a bridge between the two groups. Maybe this was done on purpose, and CBS will split the tribes into three groups, taking the younger Gen Xers and the older Millennials to make a third Gen Y tribe. Much like Michaela, I think my eyes rolled all the way to the back of my head when Paul made his participation trophy speech on the mat. Yuck. I know that CBS needs a hook, but this trope has become cliche. Newsflash, every generation feels superior to the one that follows it, and I'm sure old Rudy from season 1 would have some choice words for a long-haired, hippie-looking fella like Paul. For the most part, I enjoyed the first few days and was very excited to see the progress of my boy Zeke, who I chose from my USB. After his initial time on the tribe, I was really concerned about his progress, but his help with the shelter and making fire has really solidified my choice. I'm not sure if he'll go all the way, but I'm just glad that my first initial assessment of his character played out. Just quickly, some other points. Not a fan of the Triforce. Ugh. Pretty shocked with the Cyclone, and was quickly feeling very uncomfortable with David's antics. I had high hopes for him, but man, talk about a fish out of water. Very hard to watch. I liked the community challenge and thought it was interesting that Gen X, a tribe full of hard workers, decided to take the easy way out. Maybe Paul should download an app to help him with puzzles next time. Now on her exit interview, Rachel seemed very sweet, and I think I agree with her own assessment of doing poorly on the Gen X tribe. I understand her to be more around my age, and maybe she would be better suited as a Gen Y tribe mate with the others like Zeke, Michaela, Ken, and maybe even David. Next week's predictions, Gen X will continue to lose with CC being voted out. The Triforce, will ruffle feathers and lead to the formation of a real alliance with my boy Zeke at the helm. Heart Attack will be a red herring, and in the future, Paul will need an app to monitor his blood pressure. That's it for now. Take care.
Oh, that was good. Good job, JWaffles. I like how you appropriated Will Ferrell's My Boy Blue. There, that works for my boy Zeke. Good job. Excellent. All right, next up, we got a call from BrandonA.
What's up, Joanne and Stacey and Survivor friends? This is Brandon from Cleveland, back for the recap or feedback show, I should say, at episode 1. I'm so happy Survivor is back. I'm pumped. I'm doing the Holloway Happy Dance right now. Do the Holloway Happy Dance. Do the Holloway Happy Dance. All right, enough of that, but I'm just so excited that it's back. I haven't listened to the recap yet, so I didn't get you guys' take on the episode, but I'm looking forward to, listening to that, and as well as the interview and the feedback show in one fell swoop. But I was just so happy to see everything that kind of played out this episode. Zeke and Mari, two of my favorites, seem to be doing very well. And, one more quick thing before I get more into the episode. Joanne, she questioned me about I didn't really get into my crushes much this year. I don't really have a big-time crush this year. I guess maybe the highest on that list probably would have been Rachel, but she's gone now. I guess maybe Mari might be my biggest that's left on the season, but I didn't have that really big crush this time. It's a lot of attractive women on the season, but just for some reason didn't have that Ashley Underwood, Simhar, Katie Hansen type of effect. RC, that realm. Again, going back to Zeke, I really like the way he kind of set himself up. I'm glad that Hannah recognized the threat and kind of got into a group. I really like her as well. So I'm kind of glad to see that manifest itself. I'm really liking Chris and Brett from the Gen X tribe. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I think they're going to bring a lot to the season. And David Wright, talk about a hot mess. Wow. This is bad. That was really bad, but it was comical, and I hope he laughs because it'll be fun seeing kind of his arc, see if he becomes a much better or more capable player from the strategy perspective as well as thriving in the element. Speaking of which, that was kind of crazy about that cyclone hitting and everything. Glad everybody got out there safe, and woo-woo to the camera guy that was still there. I don't know if they left him behind or how that situation went. But anyway, I'm just looking a lot forward to episode 2. Hopefully Paul is okay and doesn't have to evac, but that sounds kind of serious. And, yeah, I'm just ready for episode 2. All right, talk to everybody next week. Peace.
Thanks, Brandon.
You know, Chris talked about, even while he was saying David was, getting annoyed with the paranoia and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but he can be funny, too. He can be really funny.
Right.
So those are the kind of people that...
I think he said charming, funny and charming.
There you go. They can keep people around for stuff like that if they can dial down the paranoia a little bit. Then he might be an asset.
Really? Yeah.
Just
perhaps.
for entertainment.
With someone who's that erratic, my first instinct, get him out. Get him out, get him out. I can't count on him.
True, but
I can't count on him for simple things.
He was proving his loyalty by the vote.
Well, he had no choice.
With the guys. No, he didn't, but it's still, every time he votes with them, it's proving that he's loyal.
When they made it simple enough that he had no choice, yeah, he locked in on it and was able to perform. That's why I said he'd be the perfect goat. By doing nothing. No, I don't think, it's too risky to keep him around.
Maybe.
That kind of paranoia, you just can't count on someone like that.
Well, if he could keep his mouth shut, I don't know if he can, but we'll see.
I think they actually made a mistake getting rid of Rachel before David. I think they should have taken David out. But I can commiserate and all that, but...
She might have done better in the challenges, but maybe not. She didn't break the mask. She wanted to do the hardest one. She didn't do that very well. Didn't do the puzzle well.
The way it played out, they figured out who was going to do the heavy carry, and then the remaining 4 had to figure out what to do from there.
I still don't understand that. Why
according to
Lucy
what she told
instead
us.
of Paul?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know either. But maybe some of that will come clear in the next episode.
Okay.
Thanks again, Brandon. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, it was an entertaining, if frustrating episode. Some interesting people, some annoying ones, and a kinder, gentler Jeff. Plus a hit-us-over-the-head parade, a stereotypical contrast between Gen X and Millennials. Grumpy versus fun. Stolid versus flighty. Long view versus short view. Short-term gratification. Hard-working versus entitled. Young and limber versus old and solid. On to this week's observations. I propose a drinking game. Take a swig of your favorite beverage every time someone mentions the word trophy. I stopped counting or caring after the first few times. In my mind, I've renamed the tribes Grumpy and Moonbeam. Not sure I know what to make of Warm and Fuzzy Jeff. I know he can't just let the whole cast risk serious injury or death, but did anyone else get the feeling that blended tribes wouldn't have gotten tarps? Or even his initial urging to build shelters right away? The platform for the Millennials' first shelter collapsed. They should have built a more solid foundation by stacking their trophies. Josh takes a swig of coffee. It's official. It'll be hard for any season to beat an evacuation count that starts at 20, you bet. Figgy wants to be Amber. Go on, Survivor, win $1 million. Meet your future husband. Newsflash, she's no Amber. Jay or Taylor are no Rob, for sure. Another season, another frat. So long, Alpha, Sigma, Sigma, hello, Kappa, Kappa, Survivor. When Brett, Chris, and Jessica questioned David, it took me a moment to realize that the kangaroo court was a cop, a lawyer, and an assistant district attorney. I didn't even clue into that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Woo.
And none of them could tell that he was lying.
That he wasn't lying.
That he wasn't lying, sorry. Jessica is a rare Gen Xer. She picked up after a millennial and got rewarded for doing so. Usually you just get to do it again and again. Every time I hear Triforce, my brain substitutes Three Stooges. I like Ken and Zeke better than I thought I would. If they survive to a swap, they look like they may be able to bridge the generation gap. Mari's growing on me, too. Any contestant who thinks that a couple of scrawny, stressed, underfed chickens will lay cartons of eggs has never watched Survivor. David reminds me of Woody Allen's Dr. Noah character in Casino Royale. Funny, paranoid, self-sabotaging. Next week, Taylor gets figgy with it. Oh, God. That's awesome. I'm going to do that again. Next week, Taylor gets figgy with it, while a Gen Xer might have had a heart attack. I shouldn't be laughing about that part. While a Gen Xer might have had a heart attack. Unless someone's wearing new clothes, I think the shorts look like Paul's. Anyway, that's all I have for now. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. And thank you, Josh. Cracked us up as always. Next up, we've got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew, flying solo this week. So I really don't want to say this, but I have to now. I don't know what it is, but so far I'm just not feeling this season. I don't know. I just don't like anybody. I mean, I'm sure some of them will grow on me and, you know, as things change, but I just don't really like anybody. I think I like maybe Chris and Brett, but I don't know. Maybe I don't because I just got a better first impression of them compared to everyone else. And I mean, even on Wednesday, I didn't think about it much throughout the day, and I sat down to watch, and I just wasn't that excited like I usually am. I don't know why. Maybe I was just tired or something.
I think
just
you need to
stick it out. I'm sure it's going to pick up and keep me interested, but I don't want to be a bummer. I just have to keep it real. I have to say my piece, okay? But I mean, as far as the premiere goes, it was fine. I just thought there was a lot of sitting around and talking, and when they got finally got to that challenge, I was like, finally, what have you been doing all this time? Oh, I guess they've been being evacuated and making like terrible, terrible shelters. Like the gimmick thing, it's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, everyone is just propagating the stereotypes because they just keep talking about it, even if they're going to be arbitrary in just a few episodes. I don't know. Just not feeling that. Of course, I never really loved the gimmicks. I just want to see them play. I want to see them compete. I want to see some challenges, and I did wonder about that footage, though, and how they managed to get it during the cyclone. I guess that has been addressed in interviews. I just haven't listened to it. Anyway, I was thinking, hey, my USB actually didn't get brought up for a possible vote out in the first episode, and then she got a bunch of votes anyway. I was like, people, stop voting out my USB first thing, please. It's happened too many times, okay? So, winner of the week, I think, is actually the legacy advantage. Can I give it to an inanimate object? I actually think the advantage itself is not going to be super exciting. Like you say, it's probably just going to be like a preview of the challenge or some kind of advantage. But the concept of it and how it might affect gameplay, I think, is a winner. So never seen anything really like that. Loser of the week, every single cast member. Yeah, even the ones I kind of like. I think Ken is constantly posing, I think David is like a paranoid schizophrenic. I think that these young pretties on the millennial side have no idea what's going on, and they're just so dumb. And I don't know. Maybe I like Lucy because she hasn't said anything dumb or otherwise. Anyway, we'll see what happens next. I am still looking forward to it, and I'm sure it's going to be fine, but I just have to get that off my chest, and thank you for the forum. Okay, talk to you all later. Bye!
Thanks, Drew. I've started seasons exactly like that. I try not to dwell on it too much. And when I first saw this cast and we went through their videos, I was like, I got nothing here. And then it started building. So I hope it builds for you. And
the more I looked at it, the more I was around it, the more it just started to change. Like I said, I think Drew needs a good nap.
Well, maybe that'll help too.
Daddies are tired.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, definitely. All right, thanks, Drew. Hey, Becca and Liam are back. Let's see what's going on there.
Hi, Joanna and Stacy. Hi, Survivor fans. It's Liam. I know that the Millennials won, and Joanna and Stacy say congratulations to the Millennials when you find them, and if you find them, I mean. And how are you guys doing? What should I say?
Oh, tell them how old you are now.
This time I'm not 4. I am 5.
Yeah.
Can I record it? Why isn't it moving? Okay, the first one I was rooting for was the purple team, and then the red team. Thank you. Goodbye now.
And it's Becca. We were really excited to watch, and actually, now that Liam goes to school, he takes a little nap in the afternoon. Now that he's at full day school, he hasn't taken a nap at our house for 2.5 years, but he does it for his teacher. So he got to stay up late and actually watch the whole episode of Survivor on television. So that was both exciting and a little bit challenging. Speaking of challenge, Liam enjoyed watching the challenge. We were rooting for the Purple Tribe when we watched live on television. And after he realized the outcome, and when we rewatched it yesterday on CBS.com, he decided to switch his alliance, of course, and rooted for the red. I'm looking forward to seeing how the legacy advantage plays out. Liam thought it was a hidden immunity idol found already. And I'm also looking forward to seeing Jess's eye infection clear up, because it is bringing back pretty vivid memories of the Winter Olympics and Bob Costas's eye. So excited to be watching and listening with all of you again this season, and have a good week.
Well, I like the Costas reference. It's just painful to look in his general direction. Oh, thank you.
Welcome back, guys.
Yeah, so great to hear both of you again.
And happy belated birthday, Liam.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next up, we got audio from Marla and Sarah.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hi, Survivor friends. This is Marla.
And this is Sarah.
With our feedback. Welcome back, everyone. We missed you. I wanted to talk a little bit about millennials, because I have taught millennials for most of my career. The only time I taught anyone else was when I taught Gen Xers at the beginning of my career. And I'm a Gen Xer. What are you, Sarah? Do you remember? Generation
Z.
Yeah, and Sarah wanted to know, what are they going to call the generation after that? They should have started earlier in the alphabet.
Yep.
What I wanted to talk about was the lack of difference between the millennials and the Gen X when they're college students. They're basically the same. The other thing I wanted to talk about was everyone's obsession with participation trophies. This is my thing. First of all, the Gen Xers are the parents of the millennials, and the millennials didn't just arrive at Pee Wee Soccer on their own. The Gen Xers drove them there, and they signed them up for something where they knew there was going to be participation trophies. It's not that big of a deal, in my opinion. Sarah, what do you think when you get a trophy? Does it mean you won?
No.
Sometimes does it mean you won?
Yeah.
When does it mean you won?
When you get a trophy and no one else gets a trophy.
Right, because that means
you won.
That's right. What does it mean when you get a participation trophy?
You participated.
Does that mean you won?
Absolutely not.
Do you think some kids think it means you won?
Mama, kids aren't stupid. Of course not.
Okay, so I guess we've solved that. Sarah picked out that Rachel was going to be kicked out as soon as she opened her mouth. And also, she also picked out that pink eye right away. As soon as she saw her, she said, "Pink eye, she's got pink eye." And that's because Sarah attends public school. Do you want to say how your overnight camp went this summer?
We got evacuated twice, and I scraped my head on the bottom of the pool because I backflipped in too shallow water.
And still?
I had a lot of fun.
She had a wonderful time at camp, even though they had to be evacuated twice for severe storms, and she was best friends with the camp nurse. We hope you all had a great summer. Joanne and Stacy, thanks for all you do. Welcome to the new kitty cat. We can't wait to see pictures. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Ah, great to hear you both again.
I know.
Glad you had a good experience, even though you went through evacuations too. And that's so true. It really comes down to how people are different to some degree, not everyone, at ages. That's why I say for me, it's always about results. Do you get results or not? If you get results, you're useful to me. If not, well, I don't have much use for you. Moving on.
And Marla and Sarah explain things very well.
Yes, very clearly. Thank you for that. Excellent. Next up, we got a call from Kenny.
Hey, guys. It's Kenny from Dallas. I very much enjoyed the first episode. I'm always reminded from the first episode on how physically gorgeous this show is, especially with the advent of HD TV, how real pretty it is to watch the show and all the places they go to, and it takes you to someplace else. I think that's one of the appeals of The Amazing Race, too. It's like a travel log. It's really quite spectacular. Well, the star of the show was definitely the weather, and it makes me wonder. I know they have rainy seasons and relatively dry seasons, and I guess they scheduled for a rainy season because there's a little bit more drama that's involved, but sooner or later they might want to prefer to avoid the cyclone season. Anyway, the writer on the show, whatever his name is, he's getting on my nerves already. They're going to Fiji all the time. I just blanked out on his name because I want him voted out on the show. He's angst-ridden. He's nervous. He's antsy. It makes me nervous to watch him. I want him gone. And I think it's Paul on the other tribe, the Gen X tribe, who, the older guy, he kind of reminds me in a way, in appearance and in his demeanor, of the mailman from the blue-collar, white-collar, no-collar game. The guy from Maine who was very obnoxious also. I don't have much hope for him. Well, I finally joined your JSFL. I was going to, had no idea who was going to win. I was going to pick Ken, if someone had my name, but I didn't, and I'm kind of glad because this guy's like pimping for a modeling job, running around in his underwear. It's okay to run around with no shirt on, but he's posing. He seems like a fairly decent guy, but there's no reason for him to try to get a job off Survivor. I think that the millennials were cast to fit a caricature of what a millennial is like, kind of a slacker. But there are a lot of hardworking young people, and they're not necessarily like that. And certainly the group that's self-selected, the so-called Triforce, is, not representative, I think, of most young people. I think they're going to alienate themselves and get voted out. I have great hopes for this show. I think it's an interesting dynamic. It'll be interesting to see how long they stick with the two distinct tribes. Many times they hype the division the theme for the season, and they merge the tribes, or not merge, they mix them up within 3 or 4 episodes. I'd like to see them go longer than that, so there's a true division between them. Oh, well. Take care, guys. Be good.
Thanks, Kenny. You were saying that you thought they probably would go longer this time, right? You had a hunch that they wouldn't do a swap.
I do not remember
or break
that.
into 3 tribes rather quickly.
I didn't think they'd break into 3 tribes.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they could, but I didn't think so. But no, they usually do that around episode 4? I was thinking 4 or 5.
3 or 4,
They'd probably. Well, I was thinking more 4 or 5 that they would swap them up somehow. Mm-hmm. But I never thought. You thought they might go to a 3 tribe, like when they hit 18.
Because you got the 3 6s and
I don't think they're going to move quite that fast.
Probably not when they're investing so heavily in this theme and pushing it. That's why I think you're probably right in that regard. Excellent. Thanks, Kenny. Next up, we got a call from Sandi.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Sandi from Atlanta. How long have I been playing JSFL? How long have I been talking with you guys?
Years.
You would think that I would know how to read bios and watch videos and listen to podcasts, especially yours, where I was like, yeah, right on, perfect, exactly what I think. And who do I pick as a USB? I pick David, the one who looks like he is off his meds, has no business being out there, obviously has no friends to look at him and go, how stupid are you? Why is he out there, and why did I pick him? From now on, okay, I'm going to pick people based on, I don't know, have they tilted their head to the left in their picture? How many vowels do they have in their name? Because I would do a lot better job then than what I did this last time. Couple thoughts about the millennials. They are the Spicolis of the future, and I think they are like herding cats. There is no way they're going to be organized enough to survive Basically because nowadays I think you have to know how to, I don't know, build fire before you go out there. That's kind of been established if you're going to go on Survivor. But now I think, okay, you need to be able to fish, okay? You're going to be on a beach. You're going to be needing to fish. Then what else are you going to need to do? Oh, I don't know, build something? Why would they have a hammer out there? I could have been hammering with my shoe for eons. Then maybe you should, I don't know, cook rice or boil water. There's a lot of people out there that don't even know how to boil water. Anyway, I thought it was interesting that they got a tarp, but did they actually ever use it? Didn't they evacuate them the same day? And I want to tell you that blowing sand was painful to watch because that is so painful. It's like needles getting stuck in your legs. But Jeff told him to take the chickens. Did he tell him to take any of the food? Maybe the rice? I don't know. There's a cyclone coming. Do you want your rice to get wet? I don't know. I really liked Zeke more than I thought I would. I really liked Mari more than I thought I would. And Lucy, I mean, is English her first language? She acts like she has no idea what's going on, or, you know, she's only understanding every other word. I was very surprised that David lasted. I just can't believe I picked him. I don't know what to do. And these millennials, oh my word, they're in trouble. They're just in so much trouble. And they're going to win every challenge. What is that about? Just, okay, bye.
It could be worse. You could have picked Rachel. Thanks,
well,
Sandy.
like I said, Sandy, I still think David could have a chance to go further. I even considered doing that myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, you did.
But,
you were toying with the idea.
Yeah,
Sandy
I
mentioned,
changed my mind, but...
Sandy mentioned about being able to fish, and that was one thing that Rachel told us that Ken was really good at. Kenny was making fun of Ken because he was like posing and modeling, and I know one of the extra...
He is a model, so...
Yeah, but you're on a show. You're on a game show for reality TV.
Remember how Amanda was? She turned that on and off so fast. You know, she just would automatically...
Yeah, but she wasn't hitting poses during the show.
Well, I don't know that she wasn't.
Okay. But there's what it reminded me of too was that in one of the, I think it's the extra video with Ken, I think he like oiled up for it.
You thought, yeah, you kept saying he's got oil on his body.
So he's like the only one who took his shirt off. He's sitting there in pants, but he took his shirt off, and it's like his abs are oiled up. And I was laughing the same way Kenny was.
Honey,
did you really do that?
If you got it, flaunt it.
I guess that's one way to look at it. Another is that's pretty vain. But okay, whatever.
Whatever. You're not young forever.
There you go. Good deal. Thanks, Sandy. Great to hear from you. Next up is Shea.
Hi, my name is Shea. I listened to your podcast for the first time last season. I'm a big podcaster. I do data entry, so I listened to so many and was very excited when I found yours. I've been watching Survivor from the very beginning. Now, I'm not going to lie and try to pretend that I am even near the fans that you guys are. I do not remember everybody from every season and all of that jazz, but I do remember enough to consider myself a true fan, and I'm really hoping to, I don't know, maybe contribute something to this season with some phone calls or emails, because I definitely have my opinions on it already and am ecstatic about hearing what yours are, and of course all the people that always call in every season. I can't wait to hear what they think. Anyway, I appreciate so very much that you take the time to do this, and I hope this season is as exciting as last season was. Okay, you guys have a great day. Bye. Hi, this is Shea again. I talked to you about how I had so many opinions but never left one. The two things that I noticed right off last night was I felt like Hannah Shapiro reminded me very much of Aubrey from last season. She seems quiet and kind, but really aware of her surroundings. And I think she might be a game player. I'm not sure yet. And the second thing I noticed is that David Wright, the little bald guy, needs to calm down, like right now, before he gets kicked off. Thank you. Bye.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right,
Shea.
Shea, you
Good
made
job.
me laugh.
Yeah, that was good. We enjoyed that. Next up, we got a call from Rodney.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. My name is Rodney from Illinois. I'm a new listener and reinvigorated Survivor fan. I hadn't watched Survivor since the season 1. And then my wife and I sat down and we watched Worlds Apart, and I've been hooked ever since. I'm in the process right now going back and watching all those previous seasons. To get to your question about the heart attack, I'm a nurse, and so with a heart attack, they are going to probably pull him from the game. With elevated cardiac enzymes, he runs a risk of having a follow-up heart attack with stress, so they're going to have to monitor that, and they're going to have to do some tests on that. I picked for my USB Mari, and I'm glad I did. She seems like she's a super perceptive girl. I think with her gaming background and her intelligence to survey and understand how people think, she's going to go far in the game. And again, I think if she makes the Freaks and Geeks Alliance, like she said, and gets that Misfit Alliance going, she'll allow herself to go far. And with that Misfits Alliance, if David could actually make a mix-up or the merge, with the loss of maybe CC, from isolating herself and Gen X winning a few challenges, David could actually join the Misfits Alliance, which would push him further into the game. And so that would be interesting to see. As far as who I picked to go out first, I was wrong, so I only scored, the 4 points. But I went back and I looked at my rating system that I created, and I actually rated Rachel the lowest of everybody, and I didn't follow my own criteria. So, that's shame on me for not following my own advice. The one thing I did want to know, and I would be interested to find out, is if Rachel had found Paul to be the jerk. In her introduction video and in her little blurb, it talked about how she met somebody and thought he was a jerk, and I wonder if that was Paul, and I wonder if that little scene with her and Paul digging the hole was her way of trying to draw attention to Paul because she didn't like him from the beginning. Overall, I like the season so far. I think with the Cyclone, we lost a little bit of the strategy confessionals, and it was more about the weather and the concern. Mm-hmm. But we'll see how that goes going forward. Happy to be a new listener, and good talking to you guys.
Well, we're thrilled you found us, and thanks for taking the time to call in and share all that. That was excellent.
Yeah, and she wouldn't answer that.
Yeah, we tried. I had my suspicions, too, and I was hoping that she would confirm. She even made me think it was someone else when we were asking her to give an assessment of the tribe for a second, and but she wouldn't take the bait. So I don't know if she just couldn't remember or she just didn't want to go there.
Yeah, she really didn't want to go there.
Yeah. So we tried. Sorry.
That's okay. That's her prerogative.
Yeah. Good deal. Thanks, Rodney. Next up, let's check in with Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanna Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. This is Jeremiah Panhorst here for some feedback on Episode 1 of Survivor Season 33. Well, overall, I thought it was a pretty solid episode, guys. Now, one thing I thought was interesting right off the bat was the fact that production was able to totally blindside us here with this legacy advantage thing. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I had no idea that was coming. Did you?
Nope.
So kudos to them for doing that. Now, as far as the advantage itself, I think it's interesting. I like it. I like the idea that there's this advantage that's going to happen on day 36 that I'm going to see play out no matter what, but I have no idea for sure who's going to have it in their possession. So I think that's very interesting, and I would be interested to see how potentially people can use this to their advantage in the game. So many ideas I have, but it'll be interesting to see what the players come up with. If you get the opportunity, I shared an interview that Josh Wiggler did with Jeff Probst on our Facebook page discussing a little bit about the rules and how you gift it to someone else. It sounds like basically what happens is after you get voted out and you finish up with your confessionals, you write the name of the person that you want to give it to, and then production goes and puts it in that person's bag the next day. So make sure you check out that interview, by the way, because also Jeff talks a little bit about how they were able to get those amazing shots on the beach as the storm comes in. I thought it was pretty fascinating. Well, I thought there was a few standout people from this episode. For the Millennial tribe, obviously Zeke and Adam and Mara, I thought looked really good in this episode. On the negative side, of course, has to be that Triforce team. Oh my gosh, those three. Triforce. That sounds like a terrible, comic book trio name or something, doesn't it? But anyway, those are a few people that stood out most for me on the Millennial tribe. On the Gen X tribe, obviously the group of Chris, Brett, and Jessica looked pretty solid. And even though Ken's on the outs, I kind of liked him and his edit. Cece and Rachel obviously were on the outs, so they're in trouble. And obviously David is in trouble. Wow, that guy, he's quite a character. But you know what? I get this feeling by the way that story was told that he might be one of these players that has one of these redemption arcs and makes it a lot farther. So I expect him to stick around for a while. I do always love it when production gives tribes choices. That's really cool, and I really like the idea of having it in the immunity challenges. And I really hope they continue to do that because that was pretty cool. Now, obviously, it looks like next week someone has some heart issues. Kind of think it's probably either Paul, Brett, or maybe Chris. It looks like a man as far as I'm concerned. So, Stacy, as you can imagine, I will definitely not have those people safe because, as you know, I do not like to play bold like yourself. All right, well, that's it for me. You guys take care. I can't wait till the next episode. And right now I have going out Cece. All right, you guys take care.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
And your score reflects that, Jeremiah.
And that he's ahead of me, you mean?
Yes, he's ahead of you.
Yes, yep.
Your bold self.
Mm-hmm. Well, it pays dividends.
Mm-hmm.
You see what it got me last season. The win in the side challenge. Number 3 overall. So, yeah, there's reward for bold. There's risk, and there's reward.
There's luck.
You can play not to win.
Luck.
I mean, not to lose. Yeah, there's a lot of it that's luck, too. Just like Survivor. Thanks again, Jeremiah. Next up, let's check in with Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Well, the first episode of Survivor is always a magnificent episode. But this one had a little higher level of intrigue given the cyclone that came onto the beaches. That was a Survivor first, but it turned out that the precautions were well worth taking because as we saw on the Generation X beach, their shelter was completely destroyed by a tree that fell on it. So good on you guys, Survivor producers, for keeping all of the castaways safe. And I'm learning a little more about each of the castaways. Some things that stuck out to me on this first episode were Cece right now is a lot less dynamic than I expected her to be. I expected her to be a little bit more of a firecracker. And while we saw her walking around a lot, I can't in this morning remember her saying much or doing much. And I was really shocked to see votes cast her way, especially in light of the fact that I don't know that I saw or heard anything that would indicate that she was a potential first out. I thought that more votes would be sent David's way. His name is David, right? I need to check Paul's roster.
Right.
Okay, yes, it is David. I was surprised that more people did not vote for him, just as a precaution against the idol. Jessica impressed me right out of the gate, finding that clue to the legacy, whatever it's called. And Jessica is the one that I meant to say had the really nice smile in her picture. I said Rachel because I guess I just like the name Rachel, but at any rate, that little uninformed error really cost me in terms of JSFL because I chose Rachel as my USB, and well, you can see how much good that did me. But I'm not that upset. You know, I was really neither here nor there on most of the castaways, and I kind of spun the roulette wheel, and let's just say I'm glad I had no money riding on who I picked to win. I'm liking Brad, I'm liking Chris, I'm liking Sunday, she's okay. Ken's a little quiet. Now just a little bit on the Millennials tribe. They're a big hot mess. They're kind of fun to watch. I don't know if we're seeing as much a study in Millennials versus Gen X as we are just seeing a nice study in age and maturity versus like youth and frivolity. I don't see anything wrong with really the way either tribe is acting. The millenniums are just younger and more carefree. And whereas the older tribe has learned from experience and are trying to prepare for the future, the younger tribe is just going to learn from experience and go from there. You know, that first night they learned not to go swimming in the ocean and maybe focus on building a better shelter. Zeke's going to be great fun. I like him as a narrator. I'm surprised that all we've seen of Michaela is her kind of pouting in the background. I like the way Mari is approaching the game. I like Adam's viewpoints. I think that tribe's just overall really intriguing. So I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say and see how you like the first episode. I, as always, enjoyed it. Every episode of Survivor is enjoyable to me. Till next week. Bye.
I like that outlook. Thanks, Jen. Next up, let's check in with Paul.
Hey everyone, Paul in Louisiana here, and you know what? I'm of the mindset that there can't be a bad first episode, because it's all about discovering the personalities of our cast and how they fit together that makes it so much fun. Because of that, I love this first episode. Now, people I've misjudged harshly include Jessica, Paul, Sunday, Adam, and Mari. People I've misjudged positively were Figgy and, well, David. I was harshest on Paul and Sunday in my Jabbik, and I actually liked them a lot. I hate when this happens because I feel badly about it now, but that's the way it goes this early on in the season. Yeah, I do regret, though, that in an hour and a half, Lucy was portrayed as a mute. What did she do out there to get this bad edit? Now, I feel bad about Cece because I think that by talking to Rachel, she's ended up with a target on her back. Hopefully she can overcome this since she can't talk to Rachel anymore. What she's got to do is avoid David like the plague, and she should be fine during the next episode. Will Michelle join the pretty people or not? For her sake, I hope she remains friendly while keeping a good, safe distance. Me, I wish I picked Zeke as my USB. He's rising above and beyond what he thought his limits were, and I wish David could see how this is done. Which brings me to the disasters of the first episode, David and Figgy. And I have to say that I have a bone to pick with you, Joanne. I know you mean well. You say it at the start of every season, but right now I'm not thrilled that I listened to you. So what is it that you said? Come on, you know what it is.
Every season we have people who start out with no USB 24 because they forgot to click submit.
Yeah, well, I did click submit, and at this point, I'd rather have forgotten to. And Stacy, I don't want to ignore you, so tell me what it was that you asked when Joanne told us how many people had David as a USB.
Oh, my goodness. I wonder what they're thinking now.
Well, in my case, I'm trying not to think about it. But you have to admit, I played risky. You know, I wanted someone I could have fun rooting for, but I am not going to have fun rooting for David. I will say that I have had fun covering my ears, turning away, and shrieking whenever I hear something loud now. But that's going to wear off after about a week. And I can have fun doing that with anyone else as a USB as well. So last season I lost my USB on the second episode, and I believe that will happen this season as well. Whoever has the possible heart attack will most certainly be pulled from the game. But we have so many playing that I'm sure we'll still have a tribal council. And I'm fairly certain that it'll be David who will go. Unless, and this is a big unless, David is the one who goes out because of the possible heart attack. I can honestly see him working himself up into such a tizzy, now there's an appropriate word for you, that he panic attacks himself. But that would mean that the shot of him saying that this could be good for him is a red herring and refers to something else that occurs during the episode. But the editors would never mislead us like that now, would they? Well, I'll admit that it's unlikely, but he's my USB, so I have to come up with ways to make this empty glass look as though it could get to a half-full level. So I had great fun watching the first episode, and I'm picking my USB David to go next. If the Millennials lose, it'll be Figgy. You gotta nip that romance right in the bud. Catch y'all next week. Bye.
Oh, so you mean it's like either your USB goes next or mine does? That's how you figured it out, huh, Paul? I'm not so sure I like how that ended. Oh, although I wouldn't be surprised if Figgy went out. Ugh, what a disappointment.
I still have hope for David that something will get better. I'm not sure it could get much worse. So.
Well, he could just continue.
From here,
yeah, you think he bottomed out?
I hope so.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll see.
No one who starts the way he did with the right approach, rock solid, and then throws it away like that in a tizzy, as Paul said, right, is someone that you can count on for turning anything around. He's destined for disaster, I think, at this point.
Well, you entertained me, Paul.
Yes, very much. Thanks for that, Paul.
And unfortunately, we did not make it a season where no one started without
they always
a USB
do, right?
24.
You said there was, what, 6 or 8?
I can't remember.
Out of the 300 plus?
Something.
Yeah. That missed it. Oh, well. Well, you did your part. You warned and warned.
I know.
Much to Paul's chagrin.
Nobody listens to me.
Yeah, that's it. Poor you. How did that end up being about you?
Hey.
Well, that's a wrap on episode 1. Anything else you want to make a prediction for who you think is going to go besides the medical evac, if that does indeed happen?
I think if Purple goes, it's Cece.
That guilt by association is not going to shake.
And maybe Figgy.
Oh, you're just going with the last thing you heard. You're like a windsock, just what Paul said.
Nope. She's not as strong as the 2 boys.
Well, definitely not there. Is she the weakest woman? I don't think she's weaker than Hannah.
No, she isn't.
She's going to be...
Hannah's not in danger.
Figgy's played all kinds of sports and stuff. She's got athletic acumen.
Yeah, but if somebody's got to go, why wouldn't they take her and break up the whole... You think they'd get rid of Taylor over her?
No, probably not.
Well,
there's some rationale to what you're saying, sure.
Yes, well, thank you, honey, for that.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about this episode? We got some previous season business we need to cover real quick.
Oh, yeah. No, I would like to hear the previous season business.
Yes. As part of our fantasy league, we run this little side challenge, and basically the way it works is there's no prize for winning the side challenge, but there is a task you have to complete if you lose it, if you come in last. And much to the delight of several of us in the side challenge, that's been Aaron for 2 seasons in a row now. That's why he's so optimistic and adamant that he's going to turn it around this time. And he happened to come in last season. So as the winner of the side challenge, I got to choose a song I would like him to perform. Basically a parody song is what we generally end up doing. And I asked him to come up with the lyrics from the perspective of last season's winner, Michelle.
1L Michelle.
That's right. So he put some thought and got pen and paper and came up with something.
And the song was?
Oh, Shake It Off by Taylor Swift, because there's a lot of haters out there for 1L after she won. Yeah, and I thought that would be a nice way to give a little tribute for. And Aaron called in addition to his feedback, he sent his song in. So let's take care of this last little bit of last season and hear what Aaron produced for us.
Okay, Joanne and Stacey, this is Aaron calling from Busan, South Korea. So this is for the challenge. Whew, okay. Sorry, I don't have a microphone or anything. I'm just going to sing. I'm just a beauty with no brain. I won, not Aubrey, that's a shame. That's what people say. That's what people say. Bartending is my trade, and now I've got it made. At least that's what people say. That's what people say. But I keep cruising. Can't stop, won't stop moving. It's like I got Nick yelling at me, and in my mind I'm saying, bro, I know. 'Cause Survivor I can play. And educator's gonna hate. Baby, I'm just gonna shake. Shake it off. Ooh. Michelle Truther's gonna say. The game was mine since day one. Baby, I'm just gonna shake. Shake it off. Ooh.
Yay!
All right.
Way to go, Aaron.
Yeah, get some snaps from the Simhart days in there.
I can't snap anymore.
Well, you could clap. Yeah, good job. Thank you. Your debt is paid. Done and done. Thank you, sir. That was excellent. I love what you did with that.
From the spastic snapper.
Okay, good deal. Okay, we want to say a big thanks to everyone who took the time to send in your thoughts and predictions for us to ponder and enjoy this week. We also want to thank Tom in Iowa for his donation, and Christy, Catherine, and Emily for your recurring donations to the podcast. We appreciate your support very much. That goes to the operational costs of the show when we get billed every month. We got bills that we got to pay. So thank you for helping financially like that.
Probably because someone didn't check things out very well.
What are you talking about?
What you had to pay for the phone numbers.
Oh, well, that was a one-time thing, though. That was a one-time thing.
Thank goodness.
And that service changed, so it does work a little different. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
That was on you, dude.
We're trying to say thanks. This isn't
I know.
Joanne chastised Stacy for some financial goof. Thank you very much for helping us. We appreciate that.
Okay, guys, don't forget to get your picks in before the deadline on Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time. Anything else? We hope everybody has a great week.
Yep. Have a good one.